And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Season 2, Episode 1, called The Marshal of the Mandalorian.
This is the way.
So be aware, this is a breakdown, and we're talking about plot points and things that happened in it, so full spoilers ahead. This is for people that have seen the episode and kind of just want to talk about this episode in the comments and your best moments. So let's jump down in the comments below. Let's chat about our favourite moments. So let's get into the breakdown and kind of my favourite moments. The first thing we get as this episode starts is a fantastic recap. So if you forgot about what happened in Season 1, although that's very hard to do because it's kind of saturated, it's sitting there in my brain, especially that last sequence from the last episode where we see the Vire Blade or something similar. I had hoped that this episode would pick off from that moment. Chapter 9 would start with that. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But what we do get in this episode is the quest. So the Mandalorian, still played by Pedro Pascal, and Baby Yoda. How cute is Baby Yoda? Especially in this episode. They're on the quest to find Mandalorian armor so that they can return Baby Yoda to his people. Nobody knows who Baby Yoda's people are, and so he ends up going to Tatooine. And we see the mechanic lady again, who I think is fantastic. She has such great humor, and we see how the Mandalorian himself has changed, even at the allowance of androids to work on his ship. That, for me, I was like, whoa, he really has grown in character. He's different now, which I like. I like the growth in the character. He came a long way in Season 1, and now in Season 2, he has a proper quest. He has a mandate to go and find out who the Baby Yoda characters or the Baby Yoda family is. We don't even know if it actually is Baby Yoda. That's what everybody's calling it. I think at one point someone from the studio said, no, it's not Baby Yoda, but they haven't confirmed that. So regardless, Baby Yoda is the arc. That's where we are leading. That's where the story seems to be going. So before we get to Tatooine, the Mandalorian needs to know where there are other Mandalorian, and so he ends at Fight Night, which was pretty cool. I was kind of interested what was going on there, but you just knew something was going to go down, and we get our first fight scene, reminding us how fantastic the Mandalorian is at fighting. We get to see how adept it is. Not like we forgot, but it's just a showcase for how cool he is, how great an assassin he is, bounty hunter he is, how skilled he is at killing. And anybody coming up against him, especially with that armor, man, is not going to win. It's at that point the score settles in, and it's at that point I was like, yes, I'm watching The Mandalorian again. That score just so reminds me of everything I loved about the first season. And in fact, the score for this episode is fantastic. It's a very Western feel again. We even have a gun draw when the Mandalorian meets the Marshal, played by Timothy Olyphant, which I thought he was fantastic, wearing this armor that he's seeking out. Mandalorian is seeking out, obviously, another Mandalorian. So we have that gun draw Western moment, and the score just kind of settles in around that feel. But of course, the first episode wouldn't be grand enough in Star Wars scale, in true epic Star Wars scale, if they weren't fighting a dragon. Okay, it's not a flying dragon, it's a sandworm, I guess, a sand dragon. But the creature creation, the way it looks, the mouth movements, the kind of the deep scales, the scariness of it, I thought was brilliant. It just looked awesome. It was so menacing, and I thought, yeah, that's how you settle in to do a first episode. We have Tusken Raiders, we have Tatooine, we have Baby Yoda, we have fantastic score, great fight scenes, and then just the grand epic adventure of the reward is you get the armor and a start to your arc. But for the most part, this episode is how the two townships, the Tusken Raiders that are local, or just raiders, the sand people, and this local town in Tatooine that's off the map, they come together to defeat this sand dragon, and that where is the majority of our story, and it's fantastic. I do have one little gripe. It's a minor thing. There's this conversation that's had on speed bikes, and they're flying like super fast, as they do on speed bikes, and they're flying super fast as you do through the desert, and they're able to talk to each other easily. Well, the marshal is. And so there's no distortion, there's no raising in the voice. It's like that you could be having a conversation with just naturally walking. His hair is barely moving. It's at that point I thought, okay, well, they're in a studio and they're not really on Raiders. But I mean, I know that's the case, but it really kind of took me out of the moment, because his hair should have been flapping about. He should have at least had goggles on, and he should have had to raise his voice when they're on speeders flying past. That was the only thing. I was like, wait a minute, how are we even having this conversation? How's your hair not going wild? That was a weird thing for me to think about. Talking about weird things for me to think about, when they got to the cave of where the sand dragon is, I totally had a flashback of the Monty Python scene with the holy hand grenade and the evil demon bunny. I don't know why. I just thought I'd share that with you.
Have the holy hand grenade.
Yes, of course. The holy hand grenade of Antioch. Little bleeder, one rabbit stew coming right up. Look!
All in all, I thought this was a fantastic first episode. Grand in scale, epic in nature, fantastic creature designs from even, apart from the sand dragon, in the bar or in the areas of like the fight sequences, we see the prosthetic makeup of all those characters we come to know, to associate with Star Wars. And that's what I loved about that. There are so many little things behind that are going on that you kind of can just not really see or not really focus on. I love that. There's like a depth of field in your lens, but depth of field in your view of, hey, that's not really focused on that, but if you go back and watch it again, or you happen to just catch something, you'll see a little creature movement, or you'll see somebody else's costume design, you'll be like, that is very cool. The production scale of this is fantastic. I would watch this at the cinema. They're about an hour long. If they made them an hour and a half each, I would totally go to cinema to watch each of these episodes, because I think they're that good in production. Fantastic first episode. Let me know in the comments below, what was your best moment? What are you hoping to see from this series? And do you think we'll get into the further parts of the arc quicker, like that last moment from the end of season 1, well, episode 8, because they're going chapter by chapter. This is chapter 9. I loved the score, and I love just getting back into this universe. Apart from that one little thing that kind of bugged me, I think it was fantastic. Thanks so much for watching this breakdown and review. Chat to me in the comments below, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.